What's good, guys? Vinny here, bringing you a new video. Today we're going to be showing you the best custom controls and game settings which I use. It's not going to be exactly maybe the best for you, but it's what I use, and maybe you want to take this away and maybe implicate it into your game and change a few things once I explain what different different settings do to cater to your gameplay. So let's get into this. Obviously it's in settings, and do this before you get into a game, because sometimes when you get into a game it's already locked and you can't change, so make sure you change it beforehand. So first of all, we'll start with the custom controls and then we'll get into the camera settings and the game settings. First off, controls, put FIFA Trainer, put that on high. You do not need that. Don't worry about time finishing and learning how to time your shots. It's not a thing right this year. It's not like you have to do it. Like FIFA 19 you had to do it, to be fair, but this year I think I'm 91 and 3 in draft on the moment on my Road to Glory account, and I haven't tried to time a shot once, so don't try and time it. It's not needed yet, but it could be needed in time. I still got time finishing on just in case I ever decide to do it. I'm never really a spammer of the button, so keep it on, but if you don't want to even try and risk the idea of having it, just take it off. You don't really need it. Second defender switch icon. This is where you have the two icons, where second icon is like if you hold RB or R1 on the PlayStation, it's the guy who will run to the ball who you're going to change to next. I don't have this because I'm quite I like the basic FIFA. Like that's when I love FIFA, like back in the day when I didn't have that second icon. That's when I enjoyed FIFA, so it just makes it look really weird if I do have it on. So it's just preference really. You can have it on if you want, but for me I don't bother. Pass block assistance, make sure you have this on. This is where your AI will help you defend. Sounds crazy, I know, because AI is not as important this year, but AI will still help you in certain situations when the ball is more close to them. If you have it off, they will not help at all, so make sure you have that on. Auto switching, we have air balls and loose balls. Very simple, it explains how it is. I remember last year, all we only had the option was air balls. They've added loose balls this time, so when you make them interceptions, they wouldn't used to allow you to switch players. Now it lets you switch players with the loose ball option. Manual obviously is manual. Auto, you could do manual if you want to. I don't think it really matters too much. Auto, do not touch, because that will just put you making them switch you players, and you don't really have full control of your defense, which is the most key thing when it comes to defending, is being able to control everyone and how you want to play the defense and then transition it into your attack. Auto switching move assistance. Okay, I know a lot of people don't really touch this one because they don't understand it. I personally use none. A lot of pros use none or low. I'm going to explain to you why people don't use high. So when you switch to a player, this basically, whatever way they're running is the way they're going to go with high. If you have it on low or none, it's like quicker response time to how you want to change. So let's say they play a through ball down the line, or they look like they're going to play a through ball down the line, so your defender's running this way, let's say that's to your goal, it will then carry on that run when you switch to them. If you have low or none, it's a quicker response time for you to be able to react to that play. So let's say they want to run down the line, but then they've actually jockeyed in and they've come in close and they want to do a short one. You've been able to go low or none, and you'll be able to quickly stop your run for going down the line and into the player instead, if that makes sense. If not, my bad, but I think I explained that fairly okay. Next up, we've got jockey assisted or manual. Personally, I've gone for assisted because the game can help me in any sort of way. That's what you want to do. So we've got assisted on. Of course, you can do manual, but I think they've made it really good on assisted, because when you get tight to somebody and you're jockeying them, it keeps up with a certain pace of their dribbling. So it's kind of like contained, but manually containing, because obviously you're doing it yourself by holding LT and following the movements, but it's like they're keeping up to speed with how they want you to do. Obviously it depends on the pace of your player and whatnot. So you can use manual, but I think assisted is better. Right stick switch, and we've got player relative and ball relative this year. Go with player relative if you're a guy who uses the right stick. This is mainly for. This is where a lot of pros will say the most important things when trying to become a pro or become better, it's learning how to player switch, and player relative will help you do that. I'm pretty sure it comes as player relative. And what happens when you right stick flick, it will go to the player you flick to. Rather, if you have it on ball, it will, the ball is, as it says, is the center point. So instead of let's say I want to go to the right back, that will happen on the player relative because I flicked it all the way over to the right back. But if I'm on ball relative and the ball's in the middle of the pitch and I want to go to my right back for whatever reason to follow a run, it'll probably go to, like, let's say if I play like a 4-3-2-1, it'll probably go to my right centre mid if it's close to the ball. So definitely recommend player relative. As I mentioned, you want full control when you're defending and knowing what you're doing. So yeah. Next up, pass assistance assisted, through ball assisted, shot assisted, cross is semi. I don't know if that comes as a default. That used to not. It used to always be unassisted. Definitely do semi because then you can determine where if you want to go near post or back post. But crossing really ain't the wave. I've done actually a few crosses, right? But what I do instead, I touch the ball down and then volley or pass it off. Really effective if you use it that way, if there's like an opening space, because no one really expects you to take a touch. They always expect you to head it because of last year. So definitely recommend that. Lob pass assisted, save assistance assisted, and analog sprint is off. Another instruction you can change. I think all them play it. The passes and the shot come as how it comes. I haven't changed anything there. Analog sprint is one you can also change. So what analog sprint is depending how hard you push down on this. So let's say I'm going, obviously I can't really like demonstrate or change, but if I push like halfway down, I'll go probably at half speed. If I push it down at full speed, like full down, sorry, I'll go at full speed. And for me, I don't want that. I want to hold R2 and I sprint. That's all I want. I don't want to be able to slow down, go whatnot. If I want to slow down, I just start walking and just let go of R2. So definitely recommend having that as off, because a lot of times, let's say somebody's playing down the wing and I've done a through ball. If I have it on, I feel like my players are not running at full speed, and it feels like they've like got a little bit, it's like they got a weight on their back, and I don't know if it's because the game's not registering me pushing it full down or what, but I feel like if I have it off, they're just constantly doing it at full speed, and that's how I prefer. Tactical defending is tactical defending. That's more of an offline thing, but we don't need to go into that. Pass receiver lock. So I have this on early. There's two demonstrations here, right? So they've released a pitch note. So if you want to have a little bit more exploring into these certain instructions and settings, go onto the pitch note, what I think Zaro tweeted out, but a little bit of an explanation on the pass receiver lock. So what this is, you have early and late, and what happens if you're on late, let's say I want to pass it down the wing, but they've cut off the pass, and then I want to come into the left instead to try and like change the direction of the pass. Late gives you that option. If you have early, it kind of like whatever you do, set. You can't like change it like really late, but you can like change it early, of course. Like let's say I want to go down the left, down the right, but they quickly instead I can quickly go to the left if I'm quick enough. If you have late, it gives you a little bit more margin time. It's like, let's say time finishing was on, and you want to like it would go slower. It's kind of like that, but for passing. I've got early because I feel like my players react a little bit snappier. The game might just be like more of a mental thing, but yeah. That's how I have it. Attack and defense is on classic. Don't change anything like that, like alternative or change contain or anything like that. We have it basic, how the game comes. We don't want to change anything up. Next up, we've got the camera settings. Okay, so single player broadcaster is on. That is like when you play, that's what your setting's going to be online. So I use telebroadcast, custom, 20 height, camera zoom 0. I tried a few different cameras last year, and I think telebroadcast is the best for me, especially how I play and just maybe how I can actually see my game. The multiplayer camera is on default, but if you just want to make sure it's on the right thing, I'll put telebroadcast right there. Be a pro keeper, we don't need to do that. I definitely recommend trying out these camera settings. It gives you quite a high view of the pitch, but still fairly close. I feel like a lot of pros, not a lot of pros, sorry, but a few pros use classic. If you watch Gorilla a lot, or you're aware of Gorilla and TAS, they use classic, and that gives you like a closer up reaction. So I feel like if you're quite good with the dribbling and good with the skills, maybe it could be the best for you because you've got like a close interaction. Maybe one-on-one's a little bit better. But for me, telebroadcast, because I play a little bit more possession, a little bit slower, I like to be able to view the pitch, being able to see what I've got. I remember TAS in the grand finals, due to his camera, wasn't able to actually see a pass what he conceded from because the camera was so zoomed in, and this guy, I think he played default and he saw this run, which, to be fair to him, it was a crazy pass, but due to TAS's camera, he wasn't able to see it. So I definitely recommend trying telebroadcast if you haven't already. Next up, we've got the HUD, the player name and indicator. This comes as player name bar, so if you play it offline, it will come up as like the player who you're on. So indicator will just have the indicator and player name, and indicator will give you the indicator on the top of their name, also obviously their player name. And what this does online, it gives you the name of the player rather than your let's say your Xbox gamer tag or your PlayStation gamer tag. And for me, this is better because when I'm getting through one-on-one maybe, or like I'm playing a pass down the line, it's quite easy for me to, let's say I pass the ball down to Leroy Sané. I know the ball's gone to Leroy Sané because it says Sané. Even obviously I can tell by his player build, but it's just another little like indicator in my head, and I could be like, okay, he's got freestyle weak foot, so let's play for the left foot. So little things here and there what can help you improve your gameplay, a little bit of thought to it. I definitely recommend trying that. And then audio and that is actually the same. So yeah, they are the few game settings and camera settings I have got using right now. As I mentioned, I'm 91-3 on my Draft of Glory, 50-3 on my PlayStation where I'm doing a few FIFA points and whatnot. But if you enjoyed this video, guys, and this has helped you improve on FIFA, or maybe give you a little bit of insight onto each settings, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and peace.